to break down Niners and Cowboys Sunday, 3:30 p.m. It is Wednesday. I wish this game was tonight. I'm still fired up over this game. We watched last night's game. I know you watched it a bit back, the wild card game from last year where the Niners went up 23-7. So before we get to Mike Bassick, are the Cowboys better than last year? Do you believe them to be a better football team than a season ago?
I think they're a more balanced run team this year because they're not relying on Zeke as much as they have in years past. It's undeniable that Tony Pollard has juice, right? Like, you watch the Cowboys, and he touches the ball, and you're like, oh, yeah, he's one of their better players.
He looks like the more explosive running back.
Absolutely. And so, to your point the other day, when you were like, every time they give the ball to Zeke is a win for the defense, I feel you on that big time.
I mean, 13
and I'm a
carries.
big Zeke fan.
I used to be a huge Zeke fan. I thought he was worthy of a first-round pick.
Yes.
Top 5, no doubt.
Well, he was a great player for many years for them.
He held out, and he's never been the same.
No. And I would say his body and the position, there's a lot that goes into that. And his running style. Like, Derrick Henry, for as big as he is, he doesn't take the amount of punishment that you think a guy his size would take. Zeke takes every single blow.
Takes every shot.
And I look at their offense. They've got a really nice tight end. I think they've got a really good offensive line. I think they've got a good wide receiver play. Gallup is very underrated. I think he's extremely athletic. Like, they make plays.
They do make plays.
This is an offense that I think is balanced. And I know Dak can turn the ball over. I think Dak's a B plus type of a quarterback. On a good day, he can creep into the top 10 in terms of being a quarterback. On even just an average day, he's middle of the pack, somewhere between 12 and 16. And you don't get a lot of poor Dak performances.
No, he was consistent. And Dallas in that game against Tampa Bay, they went up-tempo and kind of flipped that football game.
Which
That's
a
concern of mine.
Yeah.
You go up-tempo, you keep the same defensive personnel on for the 49ers.
Well,
what if they get caught in their base defense when Al-Shair's next to Greenlaw and Warner? I don't like that because Al-Shair is a weakness on this defense, in my opinion.
I'm with you there.
I would rather go nickel with Jimmy Ward on the field instead of Al-Shair.
Have you noticed there at least a half dozen times there's been some big communication stuff going on right before the snap
with the defense,
especially the DBs. Now, I worry because there's times like, come on, line up, because like Gibson is arguing.
We've seen this since the Tampa game.
Yeah.
Since the Tampa game, we've seen this every single game where they're like, yo. I saw it up in Seattle on Thursday Night Football.
I almost want like Shanahan to take a timeout sometimes because I worry that a leak in coverage, like the game's so tight, one big bomb play flips the game and breathes life into the other sideline.
And Dallas does have. They are prone. That? Oh, yeah. Every since the Tampa Bay game, when they give up the 75-yard touchdown on Mike Evans and it got called back, you see it at least once or twice a game. At least once or twice a game, which concerns me because Dallas does get chunk plays. Darren Schultz could get deep down the seam and get chunk plays. CeeDee Lamb runs those big, long over routes 20 yards down the field. Cedric Wilson Jr., who killed the Niners last year for 5 catches, 62 yards, he could get deep down the field. You mentioned Michael Gallup and then Tony Pollard. Who's going to guard Tony Pollard? As much as we love Christian McCaffrey, run it out of the backfield against a linebacker. Is that Fred Warner's assignment?
It's got to be Fred Warner.
Because Tony Pollard is a monster.
No, he's a very good player. I guess where I'm going is like, guys like him, this is what I always say when you're like the kind of the backup and you're starting to come through. You get this late in the year and you've gotten X amount of touches and you're not accustomed to that. There's a whole other level of physicality. Can you step it up? Because this is going to be a barn burner in terms of physicality. I mean, this is going to be WWE, UFC. This is going to be awesome. Can he stay upright? Right. Some guys tap out, especially those speedsters. Some guys do. They tap out a couple hits. I mean, famously, Ickey Woods, Ronnie Lott is like the all-time
that's the
one.
In Super Bowl 23.
But like Matt Breida, I saw the 49ers. Matt Breida gave a I think Pollard's better than Breida, but I'm saying same kind of like, change of pace spark, and boom, maybe this guy could be your number one. And there were certain games where he would get hit on the sidelines, and I go, this game's just too physical for him.
It's too tough for him.
So I want to know if, like, can Pollard withstand that kind of punch?
Well, Pollard only got 4 carries last year. Again, Dallas wasted carries on Zeke last year, 12 carries, 31 yards, 2.6 a pop. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree.
And then now, last year, Pollard only got 4 rushes. I got to think he's going to be in the 10s this week.
14 to 18 to me would be the number that they're going to try to get him.
He has to touch the ball 14 to 18 times. He's one of their more explosive players. You also got to, as the 650 says on the Xfinity Mobile text line, T.Y. Hilton.
Yes.
Looks fresh. And he's a deep threat.
Yes.
And the film was out on the 49ers. We were just talking about it. You get deep on these guys, Deommodore Lenoir, whether it's Charvarius Ward, could you have a safety over the top? They have a plethora of weapons. That's why this has to be a Nick Bosa game. And last year, they sacked Dak 5 times and hit him a lot more. They sacked him 5 times last year. They smoked him in the pocket. But when he got time to throw the ball, there were plays downfield open for the Dallas Cowboys.
This has got, I think, a blitz mix-up a lot. I don't think they blitzed a lot last week. I'd like to see them blitz off the edge because I want to see Dak roll to his left and throw across his body.
Yeah.
I don't want him rolling right. I want him rolling out to his left. I don't think he can do it.
Dallas, Niners, 3:30 p.m. 650. CeeDee Lamb had 350 more yards this season, 20 more catches at a touchdown. What is this over 27 games? BS. Because the reason why I look at the 27 games is when Ayuk basically was released from the doghouse. When basically Shanahan said, okay, I'm going to unleash you. It's time to play.
He was running with the 3s and the 4s last year
to start
the year. Yeah, it really was.
But you look at this 1,000-yard receiver in this offense, look at Dallas and the way they move and the way they operate. CeeDee Lamb's their unquestioned number 1 wide receiver.
Yes.
Michael Gallup's been in and out of the lineup. They just signed T.Y. Hilton off the street, a couple weeks ago? Mm-hmm. After flirting with Odell Beckham Jr. all year long. Darren Schultz missed a couple games. He was banged up.
I like Schultz. And the other, is it Ferguson, 89?
Ferguson. Is it Ferguson? You may be right.
One of them.
They got 3.
Yeah, the center was Fredrickson, I think, or whatever. But anyway, point being is that, number 89, he makes plays too. He's got kind of like a little Ross Dwelly thing going where you forget about him and then boom, he hits you on the wheel route.
Is this the best overall offense the Niners have faced this year? The most balanced offense? Because Kansas City would just throw the ball on you all day long.
I mean, they're just so explosive.
They're so explosive.
I honestly,
Miami's not balanced.
To me, this is the most balanced team they faced since I would say the Rams last year in the playoffs. I respect this roster that the Dallas Cowboys have.
Think about a really good roster.
Really good personnel.
Really good roster. But just in terms of just looking at the offense, because this defense is going to have to step up. They got to shore some things up. Again, I'm a little concerned. Geno was in total control of that football game late in the third quarter. Charles Omenihu flipped it, sack on Geno Smith. He fumbles. Mm-hmm. The rest is history. The Niners run away with the football game. But, yeah, Jake Ferguson, you're right. Jake Ferguson. I'm thinking of former lineman Fredrickson. That used to be with the Cowboys. And they also
he's
got
the guy
Hendershot.
who retired early, I believe.
They got Hendershot as well. Peyton Hendershot, the third-string tight end. So I'm just looking at the offense with the run balance with Tony Pollard. Ezekiel, again, you run with Zeke, you're doing the Niners a favor. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I'm saying, Zeke, you're the backup this week. Tony Pollard has to start.
Yeah.
But then you look at their wide receiver core, their tight ends, the way Dak's playing. Balance-wise, okay, maybe the Raiders with Josh Jacobs or Devontae Adams. I see a 6-5.
But they were starting Stidham.
I know.
And I'm not disrespecting Stidham. I'm saying that, Dak's more accomplished. We can, whether you love Dak, hate Dak, fall somewhere in between, we all can agree. Dak is a much more accomplished player than Jarrett Stidham. Come on.
Can't wait.
Right?
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, respect him a little. And yes, the Raiders were really good, but the Raiders won 6 games this year.
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop it, Raider fans. Just sit back and enjoy the 2 teams playing that you hate the most. Just shut up and watch.
Kitty King.
Why do Raider fans always have to get in the mentions? Don't forget about us. Dog, we all forgot about you. You were 4th place in your own, or 3rd place in your own division again this year. All right, we forgot. You're hiring a new coach again. Stop it. Just watch the game.
They wish they were hiring a new coach. They are not.
I mean, Kitty King Jr. put out that meme of the hangover. Hey, we effed up. When they were talking about Derek Carr, when Brady retires, they're going to call Derek Carr back to bring him back.
Derek Carr, please get off my team. We're not going to miss you. Move on.
As the resident Raider guy on this team, on this team at 95.7 The Game, doesn't it annoy you? Don't forget about us Raiders.
Yeah, please, let's forget about them. I don't want to talk about them. Can we just focus on the offseason?
There's always a texter. Don't forget about Darren Waller.
Resign.
Don't forget about Max Crosby.
Resign Josh Jacobs. See, this is why I love breaking down other teams and give the fans and the audience who don't watch a lot of Cowboy football a lay of the land. Who do they have? Their personnel. What are the options? Respect the opponent. Did I get Omari in here talking about Bonte sound scared? No, I don't sound scared. I want the Cowboy pack now. I want it. But there needs to be a healthy fear here. This team is balanced. They have weapons, and they want revenge from last season. So you better bring your hard pat. And this defense, telling you, man, they got to step up this week.
Hey, Bonte.
I need more from Bosa.
Eminem just texted in on the chat line. Don't forget about Dre.
Dre Greenlaw?
I forgot about Dre.
All right.